Imhotep. It is Tuesday, December 8th, 2020, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well today. Well, it's been another busy day. I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered today, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tomorrow's show will share some excerpts of my appearance on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Usually I'm on Fridays, but there was a schedule change, so I was on today. All right, so on today's show, you know, when I was on Roland Show, we talked about what's going on in Georgia with the Senate race in Georgia. John Ossoff, Democrat, against Senator David Perdue, Republican, and Reverend Raphael Warnock against Senator Kelly Loeffler. Okay. NBCnews.com and other outlets are reporting that you have Georgia counties cut back early voting sites. Georgia counties cut back early voting sites ahead of Senate runoffs, alarming voting rights advocates. Georgia counties cut back early voting sites ahead of Senate runoffs, alarming voting rights advocates. Civil rights and voting rights groups warned that the reduction will particularly harm African American and Latino voters. Okay, so we'll talk about that. The voter suppression is rampant. There is a concerted effort to suppress the African American vote in Georgia because the who is going to be in control of the U.S. Senate, whether it's going to be Republicans or Democrats, is based upon the outcome of these two Senate races. Then we see in Texas, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is suing four battleground states, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, whose election results handed the White House to President-elect Joe Biden. He's suing them, claiming that pandemic era changes to election procedures in those states violated federal law, and he's asking the U.S. Supreme Court to block the states from voting in the Electoral College, because the states vote December 14th. The Electoral College votes December 14th. Okay. The Electoral College votes on the first Monday following the second Wednesday in December. This is when the Electoral College votes. So you got this another crazy lawsuit. TexasTribune.org is reporting that. We'll talk a little bit about that. In coronavirus news, we see that the U.S. has surpassed 15 million reported coronavirus cases. U.S. tops 15 million cases after deadliest week yet. The nation has now surpassed 15 million cases and more than 285,000 deaths. So we'll give an update on what's going on with coronavirus. And as I have said before, Donald Trump is spending more time trying to overturn the election results of a lawful election. He's spending more time trying to overturn the election results of a lawful election than he is trying to fight against coronavirus. Okay, so it makes absolutely no sense. Then we'll talk about Little Richard. December 5th was the birth date of one Richard Penniman. And we know we lost Little Richard earlier this year, May 9th, 2020. I posted some information, a little short bio about Little Richard on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. And I went through and I was looking at some clips once again of him, just like I did when he passed away. So we'll share I came across an interview that he did back in, I think it was 1990. Okay, I think it was 1990. This interview came out. that he did. It was an emotional, and he was talking about the movie about his life starring Leon. Okay, so we'll share an excerpt, and we'll talk a little bit about Little Richard, the architect of rock and roll. He's the real king of rock and roll. Okay, it wasn't Elvis Presley. All right, I know they like to push that myth. No, it wasn't Elvis Presley. It was Little Richard. Little Richard was the architect of rock and roll. He was the king of rock and roll, and oftentimes he does not get the proper credit for that as well. They'll look at Elvis Presley and Little Richard. It talks about how the record companies had white artists perform his songs and put out cover records of his songs. Tutti Frutti, Pat Boone recorded Tutti Frutti. It was horrible too. When Pat Boone did that, I mean, it sounded horrible. And the African American artists could not get their songs played on a lot of Southern radio stations because of white supremacy, racism, segregation, things like that. So you have white artists that record black people's music, and they get played all across the country. They get invited on all the shows, things like this. They could go perform places where African Americans couldn't go, and we got locked out of a lot of that money. Okay, and Little Richard talks about this. And he gave some background information on the movie about his life. And he also talked about the fact that before that movie came out with Leon, Prince was trying to do a movie about Little Richard. Okay, which makes sense because you can tell Prince was inspired by Little Richard. I mean, you can just look and tell that. Right. And I'm a big Prince fan, but you can tell, you can see an influence. Okay, so we'll talk about Little Richard. Also, today is the birth date of Sammy Davis Jr. Okay, Sammy Davis Jr., Mr. Entertainment, well, one of the greatest entertainers of all time, the Candy Man, Sammy Davis Jr. Today is his birthday also. And I remember on the Cosby Show, when Sammy Davis Jr. was really sick. I remember on the Cosby Show, he appeared on the Cosby Show, and Bill Cosby wore an SD button on his sweaters, on his shirt, things like this, in honor of Sammy Davis when he was really sick before he passed away. Also, many people probably have heard by now today, we have some sad news. Wayne County Commissioner Jewel Ware passed away today of an apparent heart attack. WXYZ Channel 7 reported about this. I saw some Facebook posts from some of my Facebook friends, some that work for the county, post about this. So this is a big loss also. She was also a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. So that's a big loss. And those are my sisters. I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Wayne County Commissioner Jewel Ware dies of apparent heart attack. Wayne County, she was a Democrat from Detroit. She died of apparent heart attack. She was the current vice chair pro tempore. Wayne County Commissioner Jewel Ware, District 2, represented District 2, which included the downtown news center and areas near Belle Isle. She was my Wayne County commissioner. She was a former chair of the Wayne County commissioner, having first been elected to the body in 1994. A certified social worker, Jewel Ware held bachelor's and master's degrees from the University of Detroit. Commission chair Alicia Bell issued the following statement on Jewel Ware's death. The Wayne County Commission family is devastated by the sudden passing of Jewel Ware this morning. Commissioner Ware was a trusted member of the Commission family, and her experience in county government and knowledge of county issues were immeasurable. Members often refer to her as the dean of the commission, and I was proud to nominate her as commission chair pro tem during her most recent term. Her 13th since being elected to the commission since 1994. She was always a proud advocate for issues involving her beloved seniors, and also was a strong supporter of programs aiding young people in the community. Residents of the commission's second district have lost a true champion, and our heartfelt condolences go out to her loving family. Wayne County Executive Warren Evans released he also released a statement as well. Okay. So we'll share a little bit more of that with you also. Check this out from WXYZchannel7.com, and all news outlets here in Detroit are reporting this about Wayne County Commissioner Jewel Ware passing away from an apparent heart attack, December 8th, 2020. Okay, let's continue here. How's everybody doing? Everybody share this broadcast on your social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in. Also, we're broadcasting on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network on Facebook, and on YouTube, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP, on YouTube. All right. So we have that. Now, I want to talk about this other story. We posted about this. I posted an article from news1.com a few days ago dealing with Black Pete, Joata Piet, Black Pete. And this is a parade, a celebration that takes place in the Netherlands. And it's deemed as a racist holiday, racist festival. And what it is, it's you have those in Holland. They dress up in blackface, Afro wigs, and they portray Black Pete. Black Pete, or Joata Piet, Joata meaning black, was the sidekick to Father Christmas, and or what would be called Sinterklaas. Okay. Sinterklaas is Dutch for Santa Claus. Okay. So I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Sinterklaas is Dutch for Saint Nicholas. Sinterklaas is Dutch for Saint Nicholas. And Joata Piet was the sidekick, but he was also a Moor. When you study the mythology behind this, he was also a Moor. Okay. And one of the versions of the story goes that he was a Moor who was conquered and enslaved by Sinterklaas, or Father Christmas. And when they would go to deliver gifts to the children on Christmas Day, the children who had been bad all year, Black Pete would leave coal in their stocking. Okay. And so he has a black face. They put on a black face to imitate this African man. So as the years went on, they were being accused of being racist and things like this. And so they would say, to justify it, they would say that Black Pete had a black face because he slid down the chimney, and that's soot on his face. But he didn't have soot on his clothes. And why does he have an Afro wig? Sometimes they would have Black Pete would have a gold hoop earring. If you understand the history of the Moors in Europe, the many of the Moorish men wore hoop earrings or gold hoop earrings. Okay, so this is when you really study this mythology and study this history, it's really making fun of the Moors being conquered by Europeans, these Africans known as the Moors being conquered by Europeans. So news1.com as well as Al Jazeera have a piece dealing with this. Now this time each year, you'll see stories about this. I've been covering this for about the past 7, 8, maybe going back to probably about 2012. So around December of each year, you'll see stories about the every December 5th, people across the Netherlands paint their faces black and don Afro wigs to celebrate the arrival of Black Pete, the black servant of Saint Nicholas, Okay. So over time, over the past few years, more and more people have been speaking out, and more people are recognizing that it's racist and they need to stop doing it. Okay, so we'll talk some about that. Black Pete, is it time for the Netherlands blackface tradition? Is time up for the Netherlands blackface tradition? That's the article from Al Jazeera, and news1.com has one. Netherlands racist Black Pete tradition is apparently exempt to worldwide racial reckoning. Worldwide racial reckoning. All right. We're coming up here on a break. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. Give us a call. We'll be back in a few minutes. Visit 4glossygirls.com. That's the number 4glossygirls.com, and follow them on Instagram at 4glossygirls.
Do you have an idea or business that requires app development or thinking of moving your IT resources to the cloud? We have postpaid and profit sharing plans for unique ideas or profitable businesses. Who can take advantage of this unique program? Entrepreneurs with unique ideas, startups, small to medium businesses. Contact us 267-209-0352.
Visit nomadicsystems.net, nomadicsystems.net today. 25 years, the Black History 1 Mobile Museum has shown the rich legacy of the museum movement in America by showcasing artifacts of the Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 corporations, libraries, and cultural events, making it the most traversed history mobile exhibit in history. Dr. Khalid El-Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Museum, and he is a sought-after speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, hip and race relations. The Khalid was named Change Makers for NBC Universal Race Campaign and listed as 100 Men of Distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Pop Archive, the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black 101 Mobile Museum currently scheduling in-person and virtual nationwide. For more, please contact Dr. Khalid Kim directly, 1-645-417, 3645-197, or website at blackhistorymuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobile.com. You can also email him at history101.com. B101@yahoo.com. Soul Natural Beauty offers organic skin and products that rejuvenate skin and naturally grow and thicken. Their whipped shea butter can heal or restore damaged skin cells to prevent hyperpigmentation and skin breakouts. All products are made with organic plant-based ingredients. Their maximum hair growth oil is fortified with organic herbal extracts and undeniably proves Mother Nature knows best. It thickens, lengthens, softens, and conditions all type hair. They even guarantee hair improvement within 90 days or a full refund. Their all-natural 24-hour deodorant leaves the body smelling fresh without sweating for up to 24 hours. It does not stain fabric, goes on smoothly, and has a refreshing lavender and frankincense aroma. It can be used by men, women, and children. Place your order today at naturalbeautyproducts.com. That's soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com. Follow them on Facebook at Natural Beauty Products. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Tuesday, December 8th, 2020. And we are live. Hope everybody's doing well today. The calling number is 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600. It's a calling number if you have a question or comment. Now on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself, What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is when everything about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events and history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter, text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter. Also, visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can sign up for the email newsletter there as well. You can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App, or through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show, paypal.me/the AHN show. Okay. So that helps us stay on the air. We're here 6 days a week instead of 1 day a week. Okay. As of October 12th, we're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. And then Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then also a lot of these shows we rebroadcast throughout the day at our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and also on our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep. So we have rebroadcasts of various shows and presentations I've done. We have those running throughout the day. And then we're here live Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. And then Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time also. And we're here on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, WFDF in Detroit. Download the iHeartRadio app. Download the iHeartRadio app. You can listen to 9:10 a.m. Superstation, WFDF live on the iHeartRadio app or on your AM dial in the Detroit area. Okay, so let's jump into these topics here quickly. Georgia. All eyes are on Georgia. All eyes are on Georgia and the Georgia Senate race. Things are heating up. You saw the debates that took place. I think it was Saturday, a couple of days ago. More and more people are focusing on what's going on in Georgia. I was on Roland Martin's show today, and we'll share some excerpts with you on Wednesday's show. We talked about Georgia counties cut back early voting sites ahead of Senate runoffs, alarming voting rights advocates. NBCnews.com has this article today. Civil rights and voting rights groups warned that the reduction will particularly harm African American and Latino voters. I wonder why they're doing this. Okay, I wonder why they're doing this. 4 of the 10 most populous counties in Georgia are reducing the number of locations where people can vote early in the state Senate runoff races. Okay, 4 out of 10, 4 of the 10 most populous counties in Georgia are reducing the number of locations where people can vote early in the state Senate runoff races, prompting outcry from civil rights groups and voting rights organizations. In Cobb County, the state's 3rd most populous county, with more than 760,000 residents, election officials have announced 5 early voting locations, fewer than half of the 11 used for early voting ahead of last month's general election. Advocates warned that the reduction of early voting sites will particularly harm African American and Hispanic or Latino voters in the state by making it harder to access polls. Quote, we are especially concerned that these closures will be harmful to Cobb County's Black and Latinx voters because many of the locations are in Black and Latinx communities. A group of advocates, including Georgia branches of the NAACP and the American Civil Liberties Union, wrote in a letter Monday, December 7th, to local officials calling on them to maintain 11 early voting sites for the runoff. They included a map that showed how most of the early voting locations are in areas with a higher share of African-American voters. Now, in an interview with the Washington Post, Cobb County Elections Director Janine Eveler, Eveler, said she did not have the staff to run more early voting sites. She did not have the staff to run more early voting sites. Turnout in runoff races is typically far lower than it is in general elections, but the stakes are much higher this time as party control over the U.S. Senate will be decided by the state's 2 Senate contests on January 5th, 2021. If both Democratic candidates, John Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock, are victorious, Democrats will control the U.S. Senate, with Vice President-elect Kamala Harris serving as the tie-breaking vote. Because the people that told you don't vote, they ain't tell you if there's a tie in the U.S. Senate, the tie-breaking vote goes to the vice president. But if either Republican Senator David Perdue or Cindy Kelly Loeffler wins, the Senate remains controlled by Republicans, which means Senator Moscow Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, the Grim Reaper, will be Senate Majority Leader because he's already been reelected to be to be the leader for the Republicans. Now, if Republicans control the Senate, he will be Senate Majority Leader. No bill can come to the Senate floor for a debate or a vote without the approval or permission of the Senate Majority Leader. The Senate Majority Leader controls the Senate. So that means the George Floyd Police and Justice Act, they can shut that down in the Senate. You won't be able to get that passed. It may not even come to the floor for a debate. That means the John Lewis Voting Rights Act won't even come to the floor for a debate, quite possibly. It's going to be hard to get that passed. A decent coronavirus bill, that's not going to happen, most likely. Not with Moscow Mitch McConnell in control of the Senate. We already know in 2019 there were 433 bills that Democrats in the House of Representatives passed. Vox.com has an extensive article dealing with this. 80% of those bills died in the Senate. They got blocked in the Senate or voted down. So if either Senator David Perdue, Republican, or Senator Kelly Loeffler, Republican, wins, the Senate remains in GOP hands, and an outcome with consequences for President-elect Joe Biden's first-term agenda. Early voting was hugely popular in Georgia's November election, in which the vast majority of voters cast a ballot by mail or in person. So people around the country may say, well, what the hell do we care about Georgia for? We like Atlanta. We like to go party in Atlanta. You know, we like to go to the restaurants, things like this. But what we care about Georgia for? It's just one state. I said, we voted for our senators, so our senators are going to go there and kick everybody's behind. Well, I'm not sure, like, how much you study the Senate. Okay. There's only 100 U.S. senators. You got to be able to get these bills passed in the Senate that go to a president's desk to be signed in the law. So bills dealing with education, environmental reform, criminal justice reform, all that, it has to go through the Senate. Yeah, it'll pass the House of Representatives. That's the easier part. The Senate is the harder part. And 95% of U.S. senators are white. And then all the people who talk about we want reparations, we want like reparations now. That's why I asked, reparations now from who? Moscow Mitch McConnell already said reparations is dead on arrival in the U.S. Senate. They ain't going nowhere. That's not even going to the Senate floor for a debate. That's not going anywhere. And then Donald Trump doesn't support reparations. Even if it passed Senate, he ain't going to sign that into law. He was threatening not to sign the the National Defense and Authorization Act because it was going to rename military bases named after traitors to the Union, Confederate soldiers. Okay, he signed it today, but he was threatening not to sign that. And that's the bill that funds the military that he says he loves. That bill has been signed by every president since 1961. He threatened to veto that because they were going to rename military bases that were named after traitors to the Union. You think he's going to sign a reparations bill? Trump don't even support reparations. If you're attacking the 1619 Project, you think he supports a reparations bill? This is why I asked, reparations now from who? That's not even logical. So let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Clarence, line 1. Clarence, welcome to the African History Network show. Thanks for holding. Tell us where you're calling from, Clarence.
Yeah, Detroit.
Detroit. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, look what I was going to say. Congress has the power to remove Trump out of office. What I think they should do is they should remove him, but with cause.
You said Congress. Hold on, I want to make sure I understand what you said before you could do. You said Congress has the power to remove Trump from office.
Yes.
You talking about impeachment?
I found that out.
You talking about impeachment?
No, I'm not talking about impeachment. I'm talking about now. I did some research. To find out they can remove him because number one, the votes have been enough votes have been certified for Biden and Harris. What they can do, what Congress can do, but with cause, they can say, "Look, Mr. Trump, you're not mentally stable right now. You're not running the country. This virus is killing millions of people. You're not giving the people no stimulus package. The economy is going bad. You're not running the country."
What is that called? What is that called?
Excuse me.
What is that called? What is are you talking about the 25th Amendment?
Oh no, I don't know about any amendments.
That's part of the U.S. Constitution. What I'm saying is because we got people listening all across the country. So like when information goes out, I got to make sure it's accurate. What law are you citing? Because based upon the U.S. Constitution, he's in office until noon, January 20th of the next year. So what law are you citing that Congress can remove him from office besides the impeachment process, which is part of the U.S. Constitution?
Okay, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I didn't look up any laws. I was asking questions.
No, they can't. No, they can't.
No.
The impeachment process is how Congress is how the U.S. House of Representatives draws up the articles of impeachment, and then the trial is held in the U.S. Senate. They already did that in February. That ain't work. He was impeached in the House. He was acquitted in the Senate. We stuck with this jackass to January 20th, 2021. That's all there is to it.
Okay, so in other words, basically the only way they can remove him out of office, even though he's not running the country like he's supposed to, the only way they can remove him out of office is through impeachment, right?
Impeachment or the 25th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, but that ain't gonna happen. That requires I think it's 3/4. I think it's like 3/4 of his cabinet have to vote to remove him from office. But even that has to be ratified by 3/4 of the state legislature. That's 38 states out of 50. Well, 31 state legislatures are controlled by Republicans. That ain't happening either. This is the bottom line, because we got other callers, and this is only a 1 hour show. The bottom line is he's in office until January 20th, 2021. Now he can go to Mar-a-Lago and play golf until then. He's still president until January 20th, 2021, 12 noon. Okay. Okay, man.
That don't make no sense.
We got, well, it's called.
All right now.
Okay, thanks for calling. It's called elections have consequences. People, it's a 4-year term. It's called elections have consequences. This is why I tell you, you got to read the U.S. Constitution. All this is laid out in the Constitution. LOC.gov is the Library of Congress website. Archives.gov is the National Archives. Go read the U.S. Constitution there. He's in office. He can walk around. God forbid, he can walk around butt naked for like from now till January 2021. He'll still be the president. Okay, the emperor has no clothes. He'll still be the president. Okay, now they could try to implement the 25th Amendment, but you need 3/4 of the state legislatures to ratify that. Just like the ratification process of an amendment. That ain't happening. I tried to tell people in 2016, we have to stop him. People didn't want to listen to me. They said we just need to invest in the stock market and do like the Asians and build businesses and all that stuff. It's a lot of Asian-owned businesses that have gone out of business because of the coronavirus economy. Whoop, there it is. 313-778-7600 is the calling number. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. Okay, so we've got this going on in Georgia. Check out this article here from NBC News. Georgia counties cut back early voting sites ahead of Senate runoffs, alarming voting rights advocates. Then we look at what's going on with coronavirus. So we see we're at 15 million new cases. Now, we've had 1 million new cases in the past 5 days. 1 million new cases in the past 5 days. It took 3 months to go from 0 cases to the first 1 million cases, or say 1 million. So say one case, the first case to the first 1 million cases. It took 3 months. Okay. It took, I think it was 14 days to go from like 9 million cases to 10 million cases. Okay. And then it took like something like 7 days to go from the 13 million to 14 million. Okay. It took 5 days to go from 14 million to 15 million cases. And that's because the infection rate is steadily increasing. It's spreading much faster. We're at 285,000 reported deaths, according to the latest NBC News tally. California has now recorded over 20,000 COVID-19 deaths, second only to New York, with nearly 36,000 COVID-19 deaths. And also, now we saw that Representative Marsha Fudge. We'll talk more about the coronavirus on tomorrow's show. We saw Representative Marsha Fudge is named Joe Biden's pick for HUD. Representative James Clyburn was pushing for her to be Secretary of Agriculture. Okay, but she's going to be Secretary of HUD. In the running for Attorney General is former outgoing Senator Doug Jones, and I had the pleasure of speaking to Doug Jones, Senator Doug Jones of Alabama, on Roland Martin Unfiltered. It was right before the November 3rd election. But if Doug Jones can become Attorney General, there's some other people who we may like as Attorney General, but I think Doug Jones would be good. He also prosecuted successfully, I think it was 2 of the KKK members that bombed 16th Street Baptist Church in September 1963, where you had the 4 little girls killed. Outgoing Alabama Senator Doug Jones is the top contender to become President-elect Joe Biden's pick for Attorney General. 3 sources familiar with the discussions tell NBC News. Other names on the short list include appeals court judge Merrick Garland, which may not happen because then he would have to be replaced on the appeals court, which means you have to get the replacement would be a presidential nomination. You have to get that approved in the Senate. It had to be voted on in the Senate. If Republicans stay in control of the Senate, McConnell controls that. McConnell can just block. McConnell could just block Biden's nominations to the federal bench, just like McConnell blocked President Obama's nominations to the federal bench after Republicans won control of the U.S. Senate in the 2014 midterm election. Okay, so when Trump became president through the Electoral College and took the oath of office January 20th, 2017, there were 105 vacancies on the federal bench because McConnell was blocking President Obama's nominations, including an African-American woman named Myra Selby, who President Obama nominated in 2016 to be a federal judge on the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, federal judge in the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals. Okay. They blocked Myra Selby, didn't even give her a hearing. When Trump becomes president, they put Amy Coney Barrett in the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals. That judgeship was supposed to go to an African American woman and went to Amy Coney Barrett, and then they just confirmed Amy Coney Barrett a couple months ago to be U.S. Supreme Court Justice. All right, so these people playing hardball. We up here playing wiffle ball. Don't understand. They're playing for keeps. They're playing the long game. All right. So Little Richard was born December 5th, 1932. We posted some information about Little Richard. December 5th was his birthday. We know he passed away May 9th, 2020. He was an influential figure in popular music and culture for 7 decades. I'm going to go to that clip that I sent you, Shakita, in just a minute here. Just queued up at the 45-second mark, I think it is. Nicknamed the Innovator, the Originator, and the Architect of Rock and Roll, Little Richard's most celebrated work dates from the mid-1950s, when his charismatic showmanship and dynamic music, characterized by frenetic piano playing, pounding backbeat, and raspy shouted vocals, laid the foundation for rock and roll. Little Richard's innovative, emotive vocalizations and up-tempo rhythmic music also played a key role in the formation of other popular music genres, including soul and funk. He influenced numerous singers and musicians across musical genres, from rock to hip hop. His music helped shape rhythm and blues for generations. And you know, some of his biggest hits, we all remember Tutti Frutti, Long Tall Sally, Good Golly Miss Molly. So I mean, Little Richard was he was the real king of rock and roll, the architect of rock and roll. Also, December 6, 1946. December 6 was the 74th birthday of Frankie Beverly and Mays, singer, musician, songwriter, and producer, known primarily for his recordings with the soul and funk band Mays. Frankie Beverly formed Mays, originally called Raw Soul, in his hometown of Philadelphia in 1970. After a relocation to San Francisco and an introduction to Marvin Gaye, Mays went on to release 9 gold albums and create a large and devoted following. Frankie Beverly is the band's writer, producer, and lead singer. He is known for his distinctive, smooth baritone voice and charismatic stage presence. And this information comes courtesy of Soul TV, as well as Soul TV, as well as the National R&B Music Society, Inc. All right. We're going to go to this clip here in just a second here. So this was back in I think this was year 2000. This is from, February 18th, 2000. Little Richard was interviewed on the Donnie and Marie talk show, Donnie Marie Osmond. Now, some people not familiar with Donnie Marie, I guess millennials or younger people, they may say, "Oh, Donnie Marie, how long were they married?" You know, they're the brother and sister. Okay, Donnie Marie, you know, you gotta go back to the 70s. Okay, but anyway, they had a talk show. Some people may not even remember. Okay, they had a talk show. But February 8th, 2020, Little Richard was a guest on the Donnie Marie talk show, and he talked about the TV movie made about his life, starring Leon as Little Richard. And he talked about his abusive father as well, that was depicted in the film. He also talks about how Prince wanted to make a movie about Little Richard as well. Okay, so this is an emotional interview. Let's go to this clip here, Shakita.
Look at those shoes.
Check the shoes out. You got to get a shot at it.
You love that stuff, don't you?
Oh, I just love it so much. Not as much as Liberace, but I'm next door. I just made 67.
I'll be 68 this year. Isn't that beautiful? And I'm just, God has been so good. He's been so wonderful. And I just thank him and praise him. Just how he's kept me in this whole world, you know, eating right.
Well, that's great to hear.
Speaking of eating right, you know, we were just talking about junk foods and things like that. Do you have a favorite junk food or snack or something?
I do, but I shouldn't.
We all have.
I'm a vegetarian, and I've been one for almost 50 years. But I like marshmallows, you know, with the cookies in them. I love that, you know.
Do you like Tutti Frutti?
Marie, as long as it's old Rudy. Yes, I do.
We heard about this. So, yeah, where's it? We got some. Are these the ones?
Oh, my
God.
God. Oh, yes. Shut up. Your eyes may shine, your teeth may grit, but not one of these you're going to get. Yes, I do. I have to hold up for a few moments, but this is it for me. But, you know, I would eat like two, and I said, I'm not going to eat no more right now. I'm going to hold up for a while. And then I eat another one. I said, oh, really? And then I and then I ate up all the cookies.
Richard, you said you're turning 68 this year. When you look back and you see the movie that they made of you, which incidentally I absolutely loved. I thought they directed it well, acted it well.
Yeah.
What did it make you feel like as you look back?
Well, it made me feel good. You know, at first I didn't want Leon to do it because Prince had me. And he and Gene Simmons were kids.
Yeah.
They had put up $30 million. He was going to do it, but they waited so long to get back in touch with my attorney. And I just felt that a lot of my friends was dying. You were leaving, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, well, maybe I should. I need to see it now, you know. Yeah. And so, and they had started doing the movie without me. They was doing like an unauthorized version of the movie, and I didn't like it. I screamed like a white lady when I heard about it. I screamed like a white lady, like that. Whoa. And so,
do that again?
A white lady, like that. Whoa. So what I did, I called my lawyer. I said, they're doing a movie on my life without me. He says, but they can do that. And I said, oh my gosh. I said, Lord, please don't let them do that. And so I called up people.
That would be tough.
Oh, yeah, I called up with my lawyer, and I called up some friends. I said, oh, God. And so, Lord, they took all record money. They're going to take this too. Lord, this is all left. And I said, oh, God, please don't let them do that. And so I raised so much sand, and then I spoken like I am. They was afraid to trust it because they knew I was standing on the corner. Already had made my sign.
You know what? One thing that I noticed, your dad was real tough on you.
Oh, yes, very. My dad used to take me, Marie, and put me in the bed naked with no clothes on. He would tie my hands up to each end of the bed.
No.
And he would tie my feet, and he would put me in blood, would just shoot out of my back. My back would turn purple, and he would, and I would be screaming and hollering, and he would say, shut your mouth. I think that's where I got shut up from. He said, shut your mouth. And I'll be hollering, oh, help, help. Somebody help me. I said, if you want to see me, you better come. I'm leaving after the night. I said, the night of my life, I'm going to die tonight, so y'all better come to see me. And he would beat me in bed or beat me so there's blood everywhere.
Before your father
was... How did you overcome that? I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, before your father was tragically killed, what kind of relationship did you have with him?
I got a relationship with him before he died. I was scared of him. I was real afraid of him. He was a very good, my dad was what you call jet black. He was blue black. My dad was really dark. My mother was real fair. You can tell what she was. My mother was as white as you are. Like my mother was.
Really?
Yes. My mother's Indian. And so my, I'm not speaking of she wasn't black. She's a black Indian, you know. Shut up. and so what happened was, she was, her and my dad would get into it because she was calling him daddy. She was, daddy, don't whip me no more, please. You know, because I was actually afraid. He was just beating, and like you said, if a guy, somebody hit me, he said, good move.
Now, what would he take out on you?
I was a very disobedient child, too, because in my dad's house, he didn't want me to wear long hair.
Yeah.
I would anyway. He didn't want me to put a ridge on my face, which I really didn't have to have it because it was there. I did.
But Richard, there was a moment that I saw in the film on the porch where he said something and you overheard it. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's true.
We have that clip right here. Take a look at this.
Father's son's growing a man, good and strong, and make one sign. But it's clear as the blue sky, Richard's not going to grow into anything but an embarrassed man. I feel ashamed every time I look at him. I wish he was no son of mine.
That just
How does
breaks
that make
my
you
heart.
feel when you see that?
It hurts, doesn't it?
Is it painful to relive those experiences?
It bothers me sometimes.
And look what you have done with your life. You are just phenomenal.
It's just,
You are. Physical abuse, you can see. Mental abuse is something that's buried in you for your whole life.
yes.
And you have broken that cycle. And that's because you're a good person.
Yes.
All right, pause it right there, Shakita.
Do you believe
What happened is
Pause it right there, Shakita.
my dad.
Okay, check that out. The rest of it on YouTube. He also does a performance afterwards. Emotional Little Richard interview on the Donnie and Marie talk show. That's from February 18th, 2020. We're out of time here. We're going to continue this discussion on our social media platforms. So those watching us right now on Facebook and YouTube, the African History Network on Facebook, and Michael Imhotep on YouTube. Keep watching because we're going to keep broadcasting. We do an hour here on 910 AM, the Superstation, and then the rest of the time I control that. We're going to talk about Black Pete in the Netherlands. Is time up for Black Pete, this racist tradition that dishonors the Moors, and Black Pete was the African sidekick to Sinterklaas. Sinterklaas is a Dutch word which means Saint Nicholas. And we know Saint Nicholas was a 3rd and 4th century priest, became a bishop, and he was actually of African descent also when you study Saint Nicholas. You can, if you like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App. Also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, or at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All of my DVD lectures and digital downloads are at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com also. All right, remember, right now, let's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you Wednesday night. Peace. All right. Okay. Stand by. Let me disconnect this call to the radio station. Okay. All right. Let's continue here. Okay. African American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast, and we'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. Email us at customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Also, okay, and we'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. We created a 30-second to 60-second commercial for you, video commercial. It'll re-air when we re-air these when we rebroadcast these shows on our social media platforms. It will re-air there, and you see our shows rebroadcasting all throughout the day on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, and on our YouTube channel also. Okay, so when we look at, let's do a quick update here from the Washington Post on coronavirus. Look at the live updates. So it took about 100 days for the United States to record its first 1 million coronavirus cases. That's what I was talking about. 3 months. It took 100 days, and 44 more days passed before the country topped 2 million cases. But now, in the middle of the most severe surge yet, it has taken just 5 days to record 1 million infections. 5 days to record 1 million infections. And on Tuesday, December 8th, the U.S. surpassed 15 million coronavirus cases recorded, more than anywhere else in the world by a wide margin, more than anywhere else in the world by a wide margin, because we have the most incompetent leadership probably in the world. Let's see. So President-elect Joe Biden laid out a 3-point plan to begin defeating the coronavirus pandemic during his first 100 days in office. We also see the FDA has confirmed the safety and efficacy of Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine candidate. Let me see here. Okay, we'll get to some more of this tomorrow night. I want to go through and look at some more of the updates. White House pushes Senate GOP to include $600 stimulus payment and relief package. And we'll do some more updates tomorrow night for coronavirus. All right, let's look at Black Pete. Al Jazeera has an article here. Black Pete is time up for Netherlands blackface tradition. And it says, it seems that the winds of social change may have finally reached the shores of the Netherlands. Following years of demonstrations against Black Pete and amid the recent Black Lives Matter protests, the controversial blackface center class tradition has largely faded from view this year, And with COVID-19 canceling parade, center class's arrival by boat this year with his helper Black Pete, also known as Zwarte Piet, Z-W-A-R-T-E, Zwarte Piet, was a much muted event. Now, Jerry Afriye, A-F-R-I-Y-I-E, one of the founders of the Dutch anti-racist organization Kick Out Black Pete, said this year has definitely been the year of change. We used to be called terrorists. We are now mainstream. The fight today is about whether the change is going to be done right. Now, Black Pete, or Zwarte Piet, as he is known in the Netherlands, is a holiday tradition dating back to the 19th century that depicts a helper of St. Nicholas dressed in blackface with an afro wig, large red lips, and golden hoop earrings. Many see Black Pete as a racist symbol, hearkening back to the minstrel shows in the United States and the Netherlands' participation in the slave trade. After the death of George Floyd in the U.S., a moment which prompted a global anti-racist movement, Prime Minister Mark Rutte, R-U-T-T-E, who himself has defended Black Pete and dressed in blackface, said, quote, "I expect in a few years there will be no more Black Petes," as he acknowledged systemic problems with racism in Holland. Now, Jerry Afriye said, quote, "The politicians, they want to be on the right side of history. He went on to add that officials are now contacting him and others in the movement. Quote, "I welcome that the Prime Minister has finally come to the conclusion that we have a racism problem in the Netherlands, but it has been years and he has not taken a stand. And that has been dangerous. It has been years and he has not taken a stand, and that has been dangerous. Now, according to recent polls, national support for Black Pete is diminishing, particularly in large cities where Black Pete appears in multicolors, or as chimney Pete with dark smudges on his face, a compromised narrative that envisions center class's helper as covered in soot because he came down the chimney. Okay. A compromised narrative that envisions center class's helper as covered in soot because he came down the chimney. All right. Now, let me turn on the screen share here, and we're going to show you some images of Black Pete in this parade, this festival that takes place in the Netherlands. And this ties into the history of the Africans known as the Moors. This ties into the history of the Moors in Europe and the Moors being conquered. Let's see, they have a bunch of pictures here. I'm looking at the one from news1.com. They have a gallery of pictures here from the festival. Let me see if we can pull this up here. How's everybody doing? Stand by. Everybody share this broadcast on your social media platforms. Let's look at this here. Let's look at the one from Al Jazeera. Just a second, let me turn on the screen share and you can see this. So this takes place every year in like December, early December. And I've been following this story for years and wondering how long they were going to keep this up. All right. So this is the article from Al Jazeera. Black Pete is time up for the blackface tradition. The next face questions its yearly festival amid a global anti-racist movement. So this is somebody stuff as Joie Piet, Black. Okay. And a lot of them think that, there's nothing wrong with it. Hey, it's just, good, clean fun. Every Black person will tell you that they were called Black Pete in the hood, in the tradition of Black difficult conversation for Dutch citizens. Somebody else is a white person dressed up as Joie Piet, Black Pete. Joie Piet, Black Pete, who is Saint Nicholas, seen during a traditional parade in Am, Netherlands from November 18th, 2018. Here's some more depictions of Europeans dressed up as Black Pete, assistants of Saint Nicholas called Piet, or Roet Piet, R-E-T-P-I-E-T, which means Soot Pete, S-O-T, Soot Pete, arrived by boat at a harbor in the Netherlands. Okay, so this is our tradition. This is just good, clean fun. No, he's Black because he slid down the chimney. That's soot on his face. We're not making fun of African people. This is just soot on his face. That's all. Okay, so, but when you understand the history, it's deeper than that. All right, let's continue with this here. So now, according to recent polls, national support for Black Pete is diminishing, particularly in large cities where Black Pete appears in multicolors or as chimney Pete with dark smudges on his face. A compromised narrative that envisions center class's helper as covered in soot because he came down the chimney because he came down the chimney. Now, Mirko Benschop, Myrcobenschop, a black student who works part-time in a shop in Amsterdam Southeast, a largely black and immigrant neighborhood, hates being asked if any Black Pete items are being sold this year. Hates being asked if any Black Pete items are being sold this year. He said, I said I'm on the fence on the matter, first because the argument of it's our Dutch culture is so ingrained in me. It's our Dutch culture is so ingrained in me. Quote, it's not hard to come up with an alternative for Black Pete. You know, if you can convince a child that center class exists, you can also convince him Pete took a shower and is no longer black. If you can convince us, now center class is the Dutch, in Dutch, center class means St. Nicholas. Okay. If you can convince a child that center class exists, you can also convince him Pete took a shower and is no longer black. Now, Margaret Quadama, Kwidama, was born in Caracal and has lived in Amsterdam for 25 years. She said, on our island, Zwarte Piet is normal. The children are used to him. They get so excited when you mention center class and Zwarte Piet. That's why I think the Zwarte Piet tradition should stay. I also dress up as Zwarte Piet for the children. Things such as slavery are in the past. You have to let go and move on. What's in the past is in the past. End quote. Well, it can't be in the past if you keep putting it in front of us. Because the caricature of Zwarte Piet is dehumanizing. Okay. And that it ties into making fun of the Moors because they were defeated by the Europeans. And this also ties into African people being enslaved by Europeans, because Zwarte Piet is a servant to center class, who's white. Center class is white. Okay. Center class don't have soot on his face. Center class is white. Recently, there was a flurry of reporting that Dutch libraries had removed books featuring Black Pete from their shelves. But the Association of Public Libraries of the Netherlands later released a statement clarifying that there was no national policy on Black Pete. Quote, some libraries chose to keep books in which Zwarte Piet plays a role in the collection. Some libraries remove it from the collection, and others include them in the warehouse, from which they remain available on request. Each library chooses its own pace. In addition, anyone who is a member of a library can access the collections of other libraries, end quote. And there are plenty on the far right. There are plenty on the far right who are not content to watch the Black Pete tradition go gently into the night. Geert Wilders, I guess it's Geert, G-E-E-R-T, Geert Wilders, the far right politician who has been charged with inciting hatred and discrimination, tweeted, only one is the real one. Through Netherlands, it is not gray or white, and it does not have a soot smear, but it is black. That is our tradition and culture and has nothing to do with racism. Long live Zwarte Piet. Now, Jerry Free was planning anti-Black Pete protests in Eindhoven, E-I-N-D-H-O-V-E-N, last week, but the rally was canceled because the right-wing anti-immigration and anti-Islamist group Pegida, P-E-G-I-D-A, also sought a license to demonstrate in support of Black Pete. He said, quote, "It was very unsafe. We were attacked in the last 2 years, last year with fireworks." He said, claiming authorities previously wanted to put them in the same square at the same time, quote, "like you fight it out," end quote. While declining support for Black Pete is heartening, Jerry Afriyi warned. He said, quote, "People supporting Black Pete have been radicalized and are supported by extremists and hooligans. People supporting Black Pete have been radicalized and are supported by extremists and hooligans." Okay, so check out the rest of this article here from Al Jazeera. This deals with Black Pete. It's time up for the Netherlands blackface tradition of Black Pete. And this ties into history. Okay, all this ties into history. All right, and then newsone.com also has an article, Black Pete blackface tradition in Europe is on its last leg. This is from December 4th, 2020. According to the Dutch tradition, Black Pete, not Santa, is the one who actually crawls down chimneys to deliver gifts to children. Pete's blackness comes from all the soot in those chimneys. However, instead of smearing their faces and clothes with soot, Black Pete performers typically wear full blackface, afro wigs, and often large red lips. Wonder what that's about. Okay, so check this out also from newsone.com. We'll talk some more about Black Pete in the coming days. All right, so hey, we're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time, the African History Network show. Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time also. Let's see. Lastly, today's also the birth date of Sammy Davis Jr. December 8th, 1925, Sammy Davis Jr. was born, passed away May 16th, 1990. Who was this from? The National R&B and Music Society, Inc. had a post today, and we shared it on our Facebook fan page as well. Remembering Samuel George Davis Jr. on the day of his birth. Samuel George Davis Jr. on the day of his birth. Singer, musician, dancer, actor, vaudevillian. He's a vaudeville actor, which was like a traveling variety show, vaudeville, and comedian. He was noted for his impressions of actors, musicians, and other celebrities. At the age of 3, Sammy Davis Jr. began his career in vaudeville with his father, Sammy Davis Sr., and the Will Mastin Trio, Mastin, which toured nationally. After military service, Sammy Davis returned to the trio. Davis became an overnight sensation following a nightclub performance at Ciro's after the 1951 Academy Awards. With the trio, he became a recording artist. In 1954, he lost his left eye in a car accident, and several years later, he converted to Judaism, finding commonalities between the oppression experienced by African Americans and Jewish communities. So check out this information about Sammy Davis Jr. here from the National R&B Society, National R&B Music Society, Inc. And he was born December 8th, 1925, passed away May 16th, 1990. And I remember on the Cosby Show when he made his appearance on the Cosby Show, and it was a interesting character that he played. His granddaughter, I think, if I remember correctly, his granddaughter was having a baby, and Mr. Palomino, that was his name, Mr. Palomino, and he was illiterate, he couldn't read. So I remember he was really sick, and before he passed away on the Cosby Show, Bill Cosby would wear the SD button in honor of Sammy Davis Jr. because we were all hoping that he survived. Okay, So look, hey, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. Visit 4glossygirls.com. That's the number 4glossygirls.com, and follow them on Instagram at 4glossygirls. So Beauty Products offers organic plant-based skin and hair products that will rejuvenate skin and naturally thicken hair. Their whipped shea butter can heal or restore damaged skin cells to prevent hyperpigmentation and skin breakouts. All of their products are made with organic plant-based ingredients. Their maximum hair growth oil fortified with organic herbal extracts and undeniably proves that Mother Nature knows best. The maximum hair growth oil thickens, lengthens, softens, and conditions all types of hair, even guarantee hair improvement within 90 days or a full refund. They also offer deodorant that leaves the body smelling fresh without sweating for up to 24 hours. It does not stain fabric. It goes on smooth and has a refreshing lavender and frankincense aroma. It can also be used by both men, women, and children. Place your order today at soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com, soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com, and them on Facebook at Soul Natural Beauty Products.
Do you have an idea or business that requires app development or thinking of moving your IT resources to the cloud? We have postpaid and profit-sharing plans for unique ideas or profitable businesses. Who can take advantage of this unique program? Entrepreneurs with unique ideas, startups, small to medium businesses. Contact us 267-209-0352.
Visit nomadicsystems.net, nomadicsystems.net today. Have you tasted the famous No Frowny Brownie from the Pink Bakery? If not, what are you waiting for? They are vegan, gluten-free, and for the big 8 allergens. While eating their no brownies, the fabulous Miss Tabbrown said they were very good. Very good. You know, if she says that, they are. The Pink Bakery is first owned Big 8 allergy baking mix company. Go to thepinkbakery.com. That's thepinkbakery.com to order No Frowny Brownie Mix today. Are you ready for a new economy? Well, The Role of Economics in the Development of Civilization is a brand documentary that will set you new of knowledge and enlightenment. The film gives viewers a snapshot of our economic history from the dawn of civilization up until today. The underlying theme of the film is the interrelationship between the three components of economics, politics, and culture. Hapi brings the brightest and most prolific in the field of psychology, history, business, and politics, such as Dr. Leonard Priest, Professor James Small, Dr. Jamal Bowe, Dr. Zahi Hawass, Barazi, and more. Together, deliver a message of cooperative economics, financial independence, pride that we can all be inspired by. The film is on sale now. It's streaming digital formats, or for DD, please visit HAPI.com. Use offer code HAPIHN for a 10% discount. Revitalizing, restorative, indulgent, essential. Crea's Love Butter Raw Shea Butter Collection. How do we know if our skin products truly delivering all the health benefits they should? Crea's Love Butter is a combination of enhanced ingredients designed to enhance the level of your health. Crea's Love is an ideal gift for health conscious and is a both give and receive. The restorative powers of butter fused it with their love and passion for revitalizing skin that you will undoubtedly feel from the first use. Visit their website today, CreaSLoveButter.com. CREAS, CreasLoveButter.com. Put your skin in the